Yo, 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 what's going on, everyone? I'm your boy ZG. Welcome to the Zach Smackz Show, our first official episode. I want to thank all you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, I'm your boy ZG, but first, let me introduce you to my co-host.
I'm your boy Kahari, one of the biggest Dolphins fans on the planet.
My name's Ross, huge Panther fan, hockey guru, Zach's go-to inside for all things hockey.
Absolutely, guys, you know it. So, a little bit about why I wanted to do this show. Biggest sports fan there is. Go home after work. First thing I do is turn on a sports game, bet on a sports game, anything involving sports. It's my absolute passion to do this show, provide you guys with any knowledge that I can, shooting the shit about sports, shooting the shit about player props, anything that I can to provide you guys with info is going to be my goal. So, once again, thank you guys all so much for tuning in, and I'm going to throw it back to Kahari.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it, Zach. Zach and I met each other working together, but he knows my passion for the Miami Dolphins. Grew up in South Florida, grew up a big Dolphins fan, big Panther. Well, I shouldn't say big Panthers fan, I'm sorry. Big Heat fan, and just recently became a big Panthers fan, so I get a lot of slack. But Zach and I are at almost every game, Dolphins, Panthers. So appreciate you having me on the podcast, brother. It's a privilege and an honor.
Couldn't do it without you, brother. Ross.
Yeah, man, I'm just excited to be here. When you first came to me with this opportunity to spread my hockey knowledge and my love for football and hockey and basketball and all sports-related things, couldn't pass it up. I'm excited to be here and ready to answer some good and have some good arguments on things.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. Thank you so much, guys. I really couldn't do it without them. We're going to bring you guys episodes twice a month to start. So going to be coming at you with some great, sports talks, great knowledge, and do everything we can to, make this shit great. So first thing I'm going to ask, Kahari, what was the biggest move you think in free agency, team-wise, player-wise? Let me hear it.
I think my free agency winner definitely would have to be the Denver Broncos. Just based on watching them last year, being such a fun team with Bo Nix as their starting quarterback, making plays left and right to Cortland Sutton, and then just to see that juggernaut defense that they did have last year. You had guys like Nick Bonito. You also had other guys on defense, like your best safety in the league, arguably. Corner with Patrick Surtain. Now they add Greenlaw on defense, and then also, too, another stud, I can't even think of his name right now.
Jones, baby. He left us.
Well, not only Brandon Jones, former Dolphin, but I was talking about Tufanga from the 49ers,
Safety.
I believe it is, safety. So that team, honestly, I think, just based on what we saw last year, I just feel like they're hitting on all calibers. So I would go with the Denver Broncos as my free agency winner.
Ross, same question for you.
I'd have to go with my Pittsburgh Steelers, man. I'm not gonna lie, Steelers
What?
Nation all the way. I think that so far
Bold.
the issues with quarterback is holding them back from it. For me, the DK signing was huge. I think that they added a lot of amazing safeties to their safety and cornerback to their team this year by adding Darius Slay and Juwan Thornhill. I think that those are some good guys. I think when you have George Pickens and DK Metcalf together, you're going to get some big deep balls. You're going to get some big throws. You're going to get some big catches. Pause. But to be fair, again, going back to the only thing that's killing me as a Steeler fan is who the hell is going to be throwing the ball. That's
Don't
the biggest
worry. You
question
guys
for
got
them right
Skylar
now.
Thompson. I mean, is
We
that
got Skylar
not good enough?
Re-signed Mason Rudolph, who played like 3.5 snaps for the Tennessee Titans last year, and who knows. But I think that the Steelers are souping up their defense. That's what they're known for. So by just adding Slayton, and then they brought in Braden Eccles. I don't know who that is, but I don't know. They know what they're doing. So they brought in a lot of good guys, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do.
Hey, I'll tell you, man, that team is well coached. They compete every year. But my team for the biggest free agency got to be the Chicago Bears. We all know the Chicago Bears are lacking offensive line, and they've been doing nothing but pouring into that offensive line with their young quarterback. And then the signing of Ben Johnson I thought was great. I don't know about you guys, but I thought that he is an absolute offensive guru. In Detroit, we saw what they did. I mean, they made the offense look like backyard football. I mean, truly, I think that the Bears, the problem is that they play in a very tough division. So it's going to be tough for them to compete, but I think you're going to see a big improvement from Chicago Bears this year.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, Ross, go.
You think that the Bears are doing more of their offensive line and their offense than the Commanders are going around their young quarterback?
That's
because they just signed Laramie Tunsil and added Debo to their wide receiver group, and I mean,
They traded for Tunsil, but yeah, I mean,
Oh, did they trade? Sorry, they traded for Tunsil.
they traded for Tunsil, but still, I mean, listen, dude, Washington showed us what they were made of, what they had last year. I mean, look how far they made it. With a rookie quarterback like that coming from a 4-win season. Kari, is that what they had? 4 wins?
4 wins the previous year,
right?
And then also, they were a humiliation as far as the offense, or I'm sorry, as far as the team go. Now you add a guy like Deebo Samuels as far as wide receiver to pair with Scary Terry McLaurin. You bring back a veteran like Zach Ertz. Which is obviously one of Jaden Daniels' safety blanket. I think that team just has a bright future. And then obviously, too, Bobby Wagner on the defensive side as far as also another big-time veteran. But to bring in Laramie Tunsil, who the Dolphins would easily build a statue for just based on the assets that he's drawn to Miami. I miss that guy so much. But to bring in Laramie Tunsil as your blind side, your offensive line, that team's future is very bright. Let's see Jaden Daniels spend a lot more time in the pocket.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. I couldn't agree with you more.
I did want to do this. Speaking of, let's go back to the AFC North. We were talking about earlier, your Steelers, Ross. What the heck is going on in the city of Cleveland? What is going on?
Just Cleveland garbage. That's what's going on. Cleveland Browns can't seem to figure it out, dude. It drives me. Actually, it doesn't drive me nuts as a Steeler fan, but it drives me nuts to see things like when they signed Myles Garrett, it's the biggest well, I don't know. Is it anymore now because of the Jamar Chase?
No, because of Jamar Chase. But I'll tell you, you pay $40 million a year to a guy who then comes out after he gets signed that he's late to meetings, he's late to practices, and ultimately doesn't want to play for you.
Listen, that is my biggest situation or my biggest issue with any player that says they do not want to play for you. Why do you want them a part of your organization? It makes no sense to me. Also, that same guy that says, I want to focus on winning. It's not about the bag. The bag appears in front of him, and ultimately now it's about the bag again. So, for me, it's like I want a guy that wants to be a part of the franchise, that wants to be a part of the city. So I know that, I might get a lot of flack because Tyreek Hill said he no longer wants to be a part of the Miami Dolphins. I know we're all over the place. But for me, if I am the Cleveland Browns, I am not paying Myles Garrett. I feel like we're just continuing to set ourselves back. The amount of assets that they could have gotten for the guy it's insane. But yet, no, let's just pay him. Let's keep him happy. Let's keep him on the team. Makes no sense to me.
I think that was the biggest thing for them too, though, because they had nothing. They didn't want to let go of somebody like him, which I get it. He's a
generational talent.
Generational. Yeah, there you go. I was going to say, generational talent. But again, you didn't want to be there. And he definitely said I'll be here, but you got to pay me this much. And they were like, we have to do it to keep him. But you're right. They could have gotten a lot more for him. They didn't want to come back and do the whole rebuild thing like they did a few years ago because they don't want to be the Cleveland Browns that everybody know them for, being those fans with trash bags over their head or the brown bags. I don't know. I wouldn't sign somebody like him to a big contract like that, especially after the things that came out for him for sure.
Well, I got news for you, Ross. They're going to still be that team. They're going to still be that team. They got a quarterback.
Sorry for my Steelers.
Massage Parlor Watson. You still have him at QB.
The guy's going to be out for 2 years.
Guy just got engaged, though. Congratulations to him.
Congrats to him.
Glad he's doing great things off the field.
$40 million a year for nothing.
What, he tore his Achilles, right?
Twice.
Now, who's their elite backup coming in from Philadelphia?
Who, Kenny Pickett?
Kenny two-hand pick or two small-hand pick?
It's not going to happen.
That guy was.
They're going to get Cam.
Could you imagine though? Like you signed Deshaun Watson when he was in Houston after all that stuff, and then now you got Kenny Pickett throwing the ball. I'm sorry, that's embarrassing. And we drafted him. That's even more embarrassing.
It is funny. Let's circle back here. Miami Dolphins, Kahari, me and you can go all day about this.
For sure.
How do you assess the situation of what we're doing so far? What do you think? I'll give it to you after you give it to me. Let's hear it.
Pause.
Big pause on that one. Big pause on that one. Big pause on that one.
I'm looking at what we're doing in free agency. Obviously, no splash moves, no pun intended, no splash moves. But, at first I was a little apprehensive when we not drafted, I was going to say, when we signed Skylar Thompson. What's going on with me? When it's
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson, right? When we signed Zach Wilson to back up to back up Tua. I think what was great about doing that is the simple fact that, it kind of puts a fire behind Tua. And so I'm actually happy with the Zach Wilson move. I think Zach Wilson can arguably have a story like Sam Darnold as far as the comeback kid. I'm hoping that's not the case. But in the case that Tua does go down, I wish him all the best. So I am hoping that. Obviously, we also signed James Daniels as far as our O-line, which needed to be addressed. So I'm very excited about that. Just waiting on, obviously, Calais Campbell and a few other vets on our team like Teron Armstead to decide whether they want to return. But, I mean, I can't say that I'm super optimistic as far as the season goes, but, hey, I'm just happy with what we've done so far. I guess I'm content just trusting in the process like I always do. So
The Daniel signing for you guys was good too, because personally, like I'm going to miss him in Pittsburgh. So he was a great offensive lineman. He may not stop everything, but he'll definitely give Tua some more time. So that's a good signing for you guys.
For sure. I hope so. What's going on, Zach? Now, Zach, what do you think about the Miami Dolphins in the offseason so far?
We're in cap hell, ultimately. The reason they haven't made any big moves is because we have no money. I think that we could still potentially compete, but I do think that it's going to be a tough year. And I don't want to say that as a Dolphins fan. I mean, ultimately, I'm going to be rooting for them every game. I'm going to be rooting for them every year, but they're going to need a lot of help because the AFC's not getting any worse. Absolutely not getting any worse. The Bills have been getting more stacked. Ross, Joey Bosa. I know you like that signing.
Mm-hmm.
If he's healthy, he's going to be a big pair with Gregory Rousseau. But listen, at the end of the day, diehard Dolphins fan, we're going to still be competing. It's just the matter of not making those big moves. We got to address the O-line a little bit more in the draft, and we got to make some more moves that are going to make us compete, because right now we have a first-round cornerback who can't even get on the field. We have, multiple draft picks that don't play. So we need to figure out a way that is going to make us win, but Chris Greer is happy.
And as long as Chris Greer and owner Stephen Ross are making money, Stephen Ross is making money.
Baby, U.S. Open, they got the Miami Open, whatever it is. They got
Formula
the F1.
One.
They're not worried about the Dolphins.
No, but we are as fans, especially loyal season ticket holders. It's like we're spending the money. We want to be happy, but I guess we're part of the problem. As long as we continue to renew our season tickets, they don't really care about winning as long as they're making the money. But while we are in the AFC East, back to the Bills. I know from through the grapevine, I guess I heard through the grapevine that, Ross, you were very happy about that Joey Bosa signing. Can you elaborate a little bit?
No, I mean, I think the Bills struggle a little bit on the defensive end throughout the years. I think their offense has been pretty good. I think I wouldn't say, actually, let me rephrase that. I think that the Bills have a pretty good defense, but they couldn't get over that hump of stopping some players like Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow when they needed to the best. And the offense has always been a little lackluster, but it wins them football games, having Josh Allen at quarterback. And then they had Stephon Diggs. Now they don't. Then they had Khalil Shakir. Then they added Amari Cooper. Last year, it honestly looked like it.
Ross, can I pause you right there for a quick second? Sorry to cut you off. Boys, let's talk about Stephon Diggs. He's still not employed?
He's supposed to be coming
I
back.
heard going on. I heard that's supposed to be a Buffalo reunion coming up soon. That's what I heard.
I think there's bad blood there.
There probably is, because you see the meme of the side-eye memes of Stephon Diggs looking at Josh Allen like, ooh, I can't stand you. But at the same time, boys, why are we talking about Stephon Diggs who's unemployed? Why the heck are the Buffalo Bills signing players, role players, by the name of Malik Shakir, or Shakir, whatever his name is, Shakir, whatever.
Khalil Shakir for $50 million for a number 3 receiver at best.
He literally.
It is what it is. Teams spend stupid money. We just talked about the Browns spending stupid money.
You could have got Nick Westbrook and Heen that the Dolphins got for $4 million with 9 touchdowns. And you signed Khalil Shakir. You know who had more touchdowns than Khalil Shakir last year? Mac Hollins.
Who they let walk to a divisional rival with New England Patriots.
That blew my mind. And they paid him so early. I mean, dude, he got paid before anyone.
I don't get it.
I think that he's just committed to the team, and I think Buffalo's the type of team that just signs players who want to be there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even though they don't deserve the money, right? He wants to be there. He wants to be with the Buffalo Bills, and him and Josh Allen's got some sort of connections. I mean, listen, you look at, I don't know off the top of my head, off the stats, but I would assume that he had to have put up decent numbers besides touchdowns for him to get that type of money.
Well, we should look into his touchdowns, Zach, when you do get a chance. But, hot take, is Josh Allen have the Tom Brady effect, meaning that he's making these wide receivers and tight ends look much better than they are?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean,
look at Shakir.
Absolutely.
He would be a no-name if Trevor Lawrence was throwing to him. He'd be a no-name if Sam Darnold was throwing to him. He'd be a no-name if Kyler Murray was throwing. It's just because Josh Allen is Josh Allen.
I'm sorry,
I don't
Kahari,
understand.
I have to ask you now.
What?
I heard you say that about Trevor Lawrence. Do you not believe?
Woo!
First round, first pick, best college quarterback of all time, arguably.
Ooh,
And
I would
just
not
heard you
say. I would not say that.
Hold on.
Johnny
Tim
Manziel.
Tebow. He's talking about Tim Tebow.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
would
I
not.
know. I'm talking about Johnny Manziel.
Whoa! No.
Money.
Ross,
we're
you're
all over
way
the
off
place.
on that. You're way off on
Money.
that.
No.
I'm a
there's
Johnny
valid
Manziel
arguments
fan, but I
everywhere.
mean, he doesn't even.
No.
He's not in the ballpark of Tebow.
I would say Tim Tebow is. He's a college football Hall of Famer. Obviously he didn't make it in the show, but I mean, just in general, he was a stud.
Well, we're talking about college here. Are you
I
downplaying
know.
his college
All right,
career?
Ross.
No,
Whoa.
not at all. Tim Tebow is Tim Tebow. And
Tim
for the
Tebow is
Gators-
arguably the greatest quarterback to ever play college football. Arguably.
Yeah, and I also said that
Number
Johnny
one.
Manziel's one of those.
But you'd put them in the same category.
But Johnny Manziel was just different, bro. Like you watch his highlights. He's
Let's
different.
whoa.
It's pretty-
Let's
it's
put
pretty
Tebow to
simple.
the side. I'm gonna up you on this one. Trevor Lawrence or Johnny Manziel?
Well, Trevor Lawrence had a stacked team.
All right, hold on. Let me take
That's
over
the
here.
big part.
Trevor Lawrence, you're
Clemson.
talking about two completely different quarterbacks. Johnny
Yeah.
Manziel was something that no one's seen before, essentially. I mean, obviously you have people that can scramble, but the way that he carried himself, the way that he was, Trevor Lawrence was in the pocket quarterback, 40 touchdowns, no question. Never lost a game.
Never
That's what I'm
lost.
So
saying.
we're talking about two different
Johnny-
people here.
Johnny Manziel was fancy, flashy, running around in circles, throwing weird balls, right? Pause. But throwing around,
A lot of pause today.
Like
A lot of pause.
And then-
A lot of pause.
A lot of pause. Hey, Kahari started it. Now he's got to keep it rolling. But no, now then you look at. You're right. Trevor Lawrence, who never lost a college football game. I don't think he never lost a game since high school until college.
Correct.
At the end,
Correct.
something like that. Yeah. So I mean,
Correct.
like, again, Tim Tebow lost some games, but Tim Tebow's Tim Tebow, and he's a legend.
I got a question here. Kahari, what do you think about the Justin Fields signing?
I love that we're continuing to stay in the AFC East.
I mean, we can't talk college football with Ross.
I know.
Fucking guys lost.
I
But
know.
All right.
We're talking about Johnny Manziel.
yeah,
it's
it's
crazy.
fucking Johnny football.
And
Guys playing golf in fucking Arizona.
You know what? Honestly, I wish the guy the best. I do think that, unfortunately, it's hurtful for me to say because I hate the Jets, but I do think that Justin Fields may actually, I'm going to say this. I think he will have success on the field for the New York Jets, just due to the fact that he helped the Pittsburgh Steelers start off at 4-2 before being benched by dinosaur Russell Wilson. To me, like I don't know. I think Justin Fields is going to have a lot of success, especially throwing the ball to what's his name, Garrett Wilson. I think he'll have a lot of success. So I'm actually excited for him. Hopefully he does well, just not against the Dolphins.
I agree with you. I honestly think it was a good signing compared to what everyone else is getting paid. I think that he could be good. Listen, he played for the Bears, who we saw the first pick in the draft play terrible for because they had no O-line.
Or coach that believed in him.
It's true. And listen, at the end of the day,
Nagy.
Ross, you would know more. I liked him on the Steelers. I mean, he started out 4-2. What's your opinion, Ross?
I think the Steelers missed it on this one. I think Mike Tomlin, whether or not who was making the quarterback calls in that locker room, I'm pretty sure it was Mike Tomlin. But who knows if the Rooneys had anything to do with it? But I think that taking him out after how he played to start the first 6 games, 6 games. So he went 4-2. So 6 games. I think that he was just like, they offered him, I'm pretty sure the same, if not more, than the Jets, but he didn't want it because he's like, obviously they didn't want me here when they signed him, which is a fair statement. You can't be, oh, I'm getting this deal, I'm getting this chance, and then they bench you for Russell Wilson, who was struggling towards the end of the year when they really needed to win the games the most. So now he's going to go reunite with Garrett Wilson in New York and see if the Jets can finally make a playoff push.
OH.
But we'll see.
I'm going to throw it back to you, Ross, on this one. Talk to me. Florida Panthers, back-to-back?
That's a tough one. Listen, I like the way that the Panthers handled free agency. I like the role players they got. I like that Brad Marchand trade to add just another, I don't even know what you want to call it, man. Just a shit stir, like it's just how it is. That's how he is. Like Same thing with Matthew Tkachuk, same with Sam Bennett, same with that whole team, man. Everybody just likes to stir the pot and start things, and that's how they win hockey games and be physical. But I like that. I do like the Seth Jones trade now. When it first happened, I wasn't a very big fan of it. I think that you got rid of a young goalie in Spencer Knight a little bit too soon. I think that they probably could have held out on the defenseman, but it is working out for them right now. A little upset with how things are going right now with the goaltending and Vanacek when they played the Islanders, which I mean, I don't even know how you lose the Islanders anymore, dude. I mean, they're just god awful. It's actually embarrassing to watch them when we lost to them up 2-0.
It's the last two losses though. We dropped the Canadians.
Listen, the Canadians are a little
No,
different.
they're a scrappy team. They're a scrappy team, but I'm just saying. I mean, that was the last two games that we should not lose that we lost.
No,
Let me ask you a question. What's going on with the defense though? We lost Ekblad for 20 games, and now all of a sudden, I heard today Kulikov's hurt. You heard of that?
Well, he did get hurt in that last game.
I didn't even know
was
that.
Was it the Canadian? No, it was the Islanders game.
It was against the Islanders.
Yeah, he got hurt in that last game.
Week to week?
He's like week to week something. He went to go hit whoever on the Islanders, some bum, no name, went to go hit him, and he kind of just missed and like put his arm out. It looks like he kind of just like bent his shoulder back, maybe popped it out or something. But, again, the Panthers are locked in for a playoff spot. They didn't clinch anything yet, but they're so high up, they're not going to, whether it's a wild card spot, which it won't be, or a division title, they're going to be fine. So they're not going to take chances on bringing guys back to win hockey games. Same thing with Tkachuk with the groin. He probably could play a few of the last games this season, but they're not going to risk it. Bring him back for the playoffs. They got the cap hit on that one too. So now they're able to sign guys like Seth Jones and bring in more money because they don't got to spend it now that he's hurt. And then Ekblad being out for 20 games.
Ross, I don't know. I got a question, Ross. Why has our boy who got paid in the offseason, why has Rhino only had 2 goals since February 2nd? He got one the other night, which before I was saying it was only 1 goal.
17 games.
Yeah,
right?
in 17 games.
Yeah.
That's insane to me. What's going on with Rhino? I mean, I know that the sister there, but do you have an idea of what's going on?
That, like you said last time when we talked about it, is true. Is without Tkachuk, you lose that passing ability. You miss that the motion of on the power play and everything like that. But I think they filled that in. They put Verhaeghe in his spot, or they move things up and down. They're doing a little bit different on the power play. I don't think it's working. They didn't. I think they scored 1 power play goal against the Islanders, and it was a shot off Barkov's ass. Like it doesn't count for me in the books. But they need Tkachuk back big time on that power play. He's really doing it all for them.
I got a hot take though. I got a hot take, and I'm sorry to say this because I love Verhaeghe, but he's regressed this year, man. He has.
Well, I think
he's not the same swaggy C.
Well,
where's the goals?
Wait till you get to playoffs, Zach. I mean, you got to think about it. Look at last year, Mr. Clutch against Tampa Bay Lightning. Years in the past, Mr. Clutch again.
He's always going to be clutch against his old team.
He's there for playoffs, and that's why you get guys. You get guys like him. You get guys like Bennett, and you get guys like Seth Jones, and even you go out and get guys like Bobrovsky years ago because you need people for playoffs. That's essentially how you got to build your team around. You got to have the mindset that you're going to make it.
I got the same question right now for Kahari. Kahari, what the fuck is going on with the Miami Heat?
Oh, my gosh. I don't even want to talk about it. Dude, I think over the last
8 games in a row dropped?
8 games in a row. Currently playing right now. Let's check on the score really quick.
And funny thing, too, Kahari, while you're looking that up. I saw Eric Spoelstra. This is his longest drought in his career with the Heat. Did you see that?
He's never... Whew. Dude, they are... Yes, seven games. They literally are doing what the Miami Heat does. I remember we looked at this score. First quarter...
Up by 10.
We were up by 10. Guys, it is the halftime, and of course the game is already almost tied. The Detroit Pistons are losing 58-60.
Well, don't worry. They always play good in the fourth quarter. So.
Oh, my gosh. Well, no, third quarter is third quarter, and then fourth quarter, more than likely we'll lose. We're going to probably drop to 9 games tonight. Just mark my words. But anyways, dude, I don't even know. It's really just not our year. I mean, I hate to say it, it's not our year. I'm already focused on the Miami. Well, actually, let's trail back some. I'm already focused on the Florida Panthers reaching their second Stanley Cup winning 2 years in a row. So I'm very excited about that.
2 years in a row and 3 years in a row in the Cup.
And the Cup.
That's
correct.
Impressive.
Correct.
Ross, how many times has that happened? Not many.
Let's see. I think the
Lightning.
last team to do it was the Lightning when they won in COVID, and then they won back-to-back, and then they almost won it for a third year in a row when they lost to the Avalanche. And then the next year was Panthers year, I believe. So I think that the Panthers, with Matthew Tkachuk, you got to follow the pattern, right? First year, they didn't win it. They went though, all because of him. I'll say it. He clutched up. He did what he had to do to win games. That one goal in Carolina with 3 seconds left or whatever at home in Game 4 just really made my.
Yep.
Yeah, I was there. It was awesome. I was right there behind the goal. It was awesome. Hockey moments for a lifetime for sure. But
what I've noticed, Ross, by the way, not to cut you off, you don't like to mention Aaron Inkblad's name a lot. Why is that? Because it's showing right now, without his presence on the ice, our defense is just atrocious. We don't look that great, even with having Seth Jones there. Obviously, you don't have Marchand right now on the line. But why won't you admit that Inky is a big reason why we're struggling on defense?
Listen, first off, not to correct you, but it's Ekblad, and it's Eki is what they nickname him. Just
well,
I heard Eki.
I've heard Inky before, but go ahead.
Oh,
Anyways,
okay, fine, whatever.
Don't deviate.
In general, I think I love Aaron Ekblad. He's been with us for a while. I just think that the biggest thing with him is it's his I wouldn't say this hockey knowledge. Obviously, I'm not in the NHL. Obviously, I can't say it how it is and never played in it before. But I do think that the biggest thing for him was he's just not consistent enough as he was. I mean, he won, I think, Rookie of the Year his first year as a defenseman. He had 60 points or something like that. Again, I can't think of the stats on top of my head, but he won his Rookie of the Year or whatever, and ever since then he went up, and then all of a sudden something happened, and then he kind of been going down a little bit and going up and down. But I think that they were playing good. And maybe that's why the league was like, this ain't right. He usually isn't this consistent. Let's drug test him. And then they figured it out. But
I would admit he was playing very well before that happened. He was.
And I don't know, he was shooting the puck a lot more. And I think for the Panthers, for defense, they got to be more interactive. A lot of these teams, the defensemen play defense. They don't shoot the puck. They throw the puck down the boards, look for a pass. I think the Panthers do good because they got Forsling, Mikkola, Ekblad, Kulikov shooting the puck. I mean, Kulikov has how many goals this year? How many times I tell you, Zach? You bet on Kulikov goal every
he had 2
game
goals last year.
If he does score,
he's not
winning.
The problem is he's not even on the book. I got another question. I want a quick response on this before I'm going to throw back the NFL for a hot take here. If it's not the Panthers that win the cup, Kahari and Ross both, who's the team that wins?
Ooh, I gotta go with Ottawa. I gotta go with the Senators.
They could win.
They
could win. That team is young, dude. That team reminds me of the Panthers a little bit, young gun, but can win with a stud goaltender. That's a good one.
They got pieces. They got Allmark and Net, who the Panthers always find his weak spot, and then you got Brady Tkachuk, who is an absolute beast, just like his brother, except he's got way more energy and he's way more involved with his team. You saw how he was for Team USA. They added Dylan Cousins, which is another huge one from Buffalo. He was their stud with Tage Thompson. And, I mean, Claude Giroux's still over there. And you had Tim Stützle into the mix. And you had Jake Batherson. And
they got a good team, dude. That's a good
Jake
take on it.
Sanderson, everybody. They got studs, and they can build one. But I would say for me, if it's not the Panthers, it's who's beating the Panthers in the playoffs in the final. I'm going to have to say the Dallas Stars. I mean, they did a lot in this free agency, bringing in Granderlin, bringing in Rantanen, extending Jay Gottinger.
They extended him last year, though, right?
Yes, they did. But either in general, he's a stud. He's my favorite goalie in the NHL besides Bobrovsky. I'd put, top goalies in the league. He's in it. I love the way he plays. But yeah, just having those guys, and then you still have, Jake Robertson, and then you still have
Rupee Hintz,
which is another inconsistent player, but he still gets the job done. He's super good.
Thomas Harley
on defense.
Wyatt Johnson was 6-game goal streak at one point.
Wyatt Johnson, man, you want young talent, dude. They hit gold with him. Tell you that for sure. He's gonna be the next best thing.
He's 23 years old.
He reminds me of a little bit of Matthew Nines from Toronto. They're just studs.
Is Nines a defenseman?
No, he's a forward.
Oh, he is?
He plays along with Matthews. And then,
I was thinking about Morgan Riley.
I agree with you, though. Dallas is always there. They're just always, relevant. Yeah. They're always there. They remind me almost of Vegas, just kind of they're a good team. Sneaky good team. I shouldn't even say sneaky, but they're just relevant.
I just don't think that I don't think Vegas got to this year, but I do think if it's not the Stars, it's the Avalanche. I think that Cale Makar is playing unreal. Nathan McKinnon, and then they lost Rantanen, but they're winning, and they're winning good. And now they got a better goalie. They got rid of Darcy Kemper a few years ago. Now you got Scott Wedgwood, who I love, and Mackenzie Blackwood, who's also.
Is it too early, Ross, to say who do you feel like the Panthers will end up playing round one?
Round one, it looks like it's going to be the Senators right now. I know the wild card's going up and down, but I'll tell you what, I don't think the Senators are in it right now. Or they're actually third in our division. So was it Tampa or maybe it's them? Tampa or them are out of the third spot in our division, but I think that it'll probably most likely be them. There's a possibility that like Montreal, they're in the playoff spot too. They're in that wild card race is tight. It's all within like 4 or 5 games. Like the Islanders somehow have won like 3 straight. Now they're in it too. Like
they won last night too, I think.
Yeah, and Montreal's on a hot streak right now. Sam Montembeau's playing good. It's going to be an interesting playoff run, especially if the Panthers get the number 1 seed, who they're going to play, because it's going to be a sneaky but good team for sure.
Could you imagine Matthew Tkachuk comeback game against his brother, game 1?
Hey man, Brady Tkachuk celebrated the cup with him this year. Maybe if the Panthers lose to him or something like that, maybe he can celebrate with him this year. I mean, I'd be okay with seeing the Panthers lose to a team like Ottawa and seeing Ottawa win it.
I'm not okay with it. Not when you have $1,000 futures ticket at them at 10-1. Listen, I'm throwing it back to the NFL, boys. Who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Colts? Is it going to be Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson?
Okay. I'm gonna go with Anthony Richardson. I think that they're gonna ride him one more time. They're gonna take the training wheels off. They're gonna push him out on the road. They're gonna say, hey, this is your opportunity again. Show us what you're made of. He has the athleticism. Does he necessarily have the IQ? No. Super athletic. But I think if he just matures a little bit, I think that he can get them over the hump. Maybe there's some Florida Gator biasness in that, but I do think that they do give him another shot because Daniel Jones lost his job to Tommy Cutlets. Why are people forgetting that? Like, obviously, the Giants have one of the worst offensive lines in offensive team, but Daniel Jones is just not him.
I agree. It's an expensive backup, though. $14 million.
It is. Backup. I don't know really what they saw in him, but I'm telling you, I think Anthony Richardson, I think they give him another opportunity or shot. If not, then, of course, they're going to put Daniel Jones on the field and see what he's made of. But I'm going to go with Anthony Richardson. Is going to beat him out in the offseason, my take.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. I think it's going to be AR too, but I think that he's on a short leash. I think 1 or 2 mistakes,
Agreed.
They're going to throw Danny Dimes in there and see
Quickly.
how it's going to go.
3
Quickly,
games.
yes.
He's got 3 games.
I would say first 5
Agreed.
games. And I know that there's been some rumors around like the Steelers are shopping for a quarterback because no one in God's name could name a quarterback that's going to be starting for them besides because at the moment it's Mason Rudolph. And if that's the case, Mike Tomlin's getting his first losing season ever. So,
bro, you guys got Skylar Thompson, who's working on what aisle, Zach?
He's on aisle 14, baby. He's selling hammers.
Selling hammers, baby.
I will say that if no one uses him, look for Pittsburgh to come in and try to do something with those guys. Maybe I've heard like Kyle Murray's on the block. I've heard AR is a possibility just because of his age and his athleticism. And you got Mike Tomlin who he'll whip you into shape real quick. He's an old school coach.
No nonsense I said quarterback. No nonsense coach right there for sure.
No nonsense coach. You can never. Right. I mean, yeah.
I got a good one. Aaron Rodgers, is he going to play?
I think so. I think that he'll end up probably playing for
Steelers.
Your team.
I don't think the Steelers are going to sign him. I think that there's been talks about how the contracts aren't working. I think he's going to switch over locker rooms and go to the Giants because Giants need a quarterback and
$33 million a year is what he wants. It's a lot for a 41-year-old.
Right now it looks like the Steelers and the Giants are going back and forth between who they're going to sign. So it's either if the Steelers were to sign Russell Wilson, it looks like they're going to go with Aaron Rodgers, and if the Steelers sign Russell or Aaron Rodgers, it looks like they're going to go with Russell. So
I'm hearing Minnesota, which I don't understand. I makes me believe they don't believe in JJ McCarthy because they all of a sudden they wanted to tag Darnold, but then he got paid $33 million a year. I don't think they believe in him. I don't think that he's looked good. I don't know what it is, but if you're going to go out and pay Rodgers, he's not taking a $10 million contract. He's getting paid. And if you're paying him $33 million a year, he's starting.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that they don't trust JJ. I think the fact is they need to have a backup because unfortunately, besides
you're not paying a backup $33 million a year. You're not.
You shouldn't, and obviously
Kirk
they're not going
Cousins.
to.
Kirk Cousins
But-
is being paid $40 million a year as a backup.
That's
Where's
what I'm
is he
saying.
still in
They
Atlanta?
do crazy stuff like that.
That was a stupid signing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and Kirk Cousins is returning, by the way, to Atlanta.
Of
But
course.
back to the Giants thing. So are you guys saying that possibly Aaron Rodgers may go there, but also they're going to draft Cam Ward?
Cam Ward's
I
going to
think-
Cleveland.
Cam Ward to Cleveland?
Cam Ward to
I
Cleveland.
think if
Okay.
it looks like for me, I think that Tennessee will probably. I think Tennessee's going to take Cam Ward. I think that
I don't
they're
think
okay
so.
with not having a good defense.
I think
and
they're going to end up
because-
signing Russell Wilson.
Well, I think
Ross
the biggest
to
thing with them
Tennessee?
is-
Russ to Tennessee.
Wow.
and if they do, but that's only if they decide to take Travis Hunter, which I don't know if they are. I think obviously Travis Hunter is the best player in the country right
Who's
now.
throwing the ball to Travis Hunter in Tennessee if they don't have a
Who's,
Right
quarterback?
now, I
even
think
on their
it's
depth
Will
chart
Levis.
right now? Is that it?
Will
Who it is still?
Will Levis, where did he go?
No, he's nowhere. But I
That's
think
sad.
that just that way, like if you think about it, it depends on where they go in the draft because obviously you got things in your head saying, well, we do need a quarterback, Cam Ward, Shador, or do we take the best player in draft? I mean, I don't know. You can say what you want. I mean, he plays on both sides of the ball and he plays both sides of the ball at an elite level. So it doesn't matter which way you get him. So I think that that's something that just sets him apart from everybody else. But I don't know. If I'm Cleveland, I'm getting that boy from Penn State.
Abdul Carter?
Yeah, Abdul Carter, and I'm pairing him with Myles Garrett. You sign that boy to a lot of money. He wants to win. That's who you get on the defensive side. of
They
the ball
need
to
a
start.
quarterback,
Yeah.
sir. They need a
100%
quarterback.
They need a quarterback, but they can go out and get one. Take Russell. I'll give him to you for free.
You're not
You
taking
take it.
Russell Wilson there. You're taking a quarterback there.
No.
You'd
They
be
got
stupid.
Kenny Two Hand. They got Kenny Two
No.
Small Hands.
No.
whatever his
No,
name
no,
is.
no, no.
Take him.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
They need a
Nope.
But I will
quarterback.
say defense wins championships. So who knows?
No. Not in today's
Not in
NFL.
Cleveland.
Not when you
Not in
start. Not
Cleveland.
when you start from a touchback at the 30-yard line. Defense doesn't win anymore. Let's
Yeah, I know
throw
we
it to.
talked
Let's
about
throw
that
it to the
before.
Baltimore Ravens. DeAndre Hopkins. I guess they just like to sign old timers.
Of course.
And then you get Cooper Rush as your backup quarterback. That was a little interesting to me. Doesn't really fit their system in any way.
No,
I mean,
not
from
at
what
all.
they've had, Josh Johnson. I know he's been on 40 teams and he's 38
Tyler
years
Huntley.
old. Tyler Huntley. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah,
to say
that
the
was
least.
that was an interesting
Got
signing.
paid decent too, $6 million a year.
People say that Tennessee is normally where wide receivers go to die, but I also want to say Baltimore as well. Baltimore is also another destination where wide receivers go to die. I mean,
they
DeAndre
got a
Hopkins,
list.
you have there. Odell Beckham, you can continue to make a list for. And then who else would you also say?
Des Bryant.
I mean, everyone they've had.
Des Bryant, yes. Des Bryant as well.
Des Bryant.
Des
Des
Bryant.
Bryant.
When did
yes.
he go there?
He went
That was
there.
one of the last teams he's played for.
I don't
Yeah.
remember that at all.
was.
I strictly remember him in
He
Dallas.
died. He died. He died.
yeah.
He died.
He died there.
Yeah. It was one of the places that he died.
There was a whole.
Hope he didn't
list
die
I
in
saw.
general.
It
He's
was
a nice guy. I
crazy.
met him
It
before.
was like there was a whole thing about how like Antonio Brown didn't even end up in Baltimore. Like it was just like they literally just take anyone that they can get on. the
Let
wide
me ask you
receiver.
guys a question while we're speaking on the Baltimore Ravens. I had a hot take with some friends in a group chat. They are trying to tell me that Zay Flowers is not a number one option, that at best he's a number 3 option.
He's
just
not a
slot
3.
receiver.
He's not a 1, but he's not a 3. He's a 2.
I would give him a tier 2 wide receiver option as far as wide receivers go. But Zay Flowers, he's a good back. I mean, not a good back. I'm sorry. He's a good wide receiver.
If you look at that draft, actually, it was kind of crazy. All of those guys are the same caliber of players. That was taken in the first round that year. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll stat check it. But that year, all of those receivers are the same level as him. I don't want to. It could have been Quentin Johnson, but I don't know if it was
Right.
Quentin Johnson draft class. But all that same level, and I don't think he's a number 1 at all.
But I wouldn't put him at 3 though. I mean, I
No,
just
I would
wouldn't.
say that he's a high 2, mid 1 receiver 1-2.
First
combo thing
Ravens
right
wide
there.
receiver in history to make a Pro Bowl, just so you guys know.
I saw that.
Well,
And
they haven't
Steve
really
Smith
had
never made a
anyone.
Pro Bowl?
Which is incredible to me.
I
But
mean,
now
Steve Smith.
also-
Incredible.
Also, another receiver that went during the prime of his career, or maybe close towards the end of his prime of his career, when he was with Carolina to Baltimore and ended his career there. I think another one that we're talking about, those vet guys. I mean, I don't know. I really wasn't paying attention too much to the Ravens back then. I mean, maybe you guys would know how he did when he left from the Panthers to
talking about Steve
to
Smith?
Ravens. Yeah, Steve Smith.
He was still him. I don't know exactly his stats, what they were, but he's pretty solid.
I don't know. I was right, by the way, about Quentin Johnson. So same kind of player. Great when he's in the end zone, but drops every ball. Jordan Addison, Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean, all these guys are the same. I mean, I'd say probably the best one is JSN.
Do me a favor. I'm going to get off subject. Well, not off subject. While we're talking about the NFL, I want you guys to name me. It probably will be different, but let's name me your top 5 wide receiver duos right now, because that's been a hot take right now.
Duos?
I want your top 5 in order.
Number 1 is by far the Bengals.
Okay, so Jamar Chase, T. Higgins.
I'd say number 2 is Minnesota Vikings. Jordan Addison,
Justin Jefferson. Okay.
I'd say the Eagles are 3.
Devontae Smith. Okay, A.J. Brown.
You got to put Miami in there.
Okay. Even with the down year, I'm tired of the disrespect. Without Tua obviously being on the field, we saw what Jalen Waddle's receiving yards and also what Tyreek's receiving yards looked like. But let's not act like Tyreek Hill wasn't voted number 1 best NFL player and
above Mahomes.
Above Mahomes. So you gotta respect him and put him in top 5. I'd put Tyreek and Waddle at number 4. At number 5, they are trying. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Most people are trying to put Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. They're trying to put them at 1 and 2 already.
You can't put that at 1 and 2 already. You haven't seen him play.
I agree. Who are you putting at that 5 spot?
Steelers. Metcalf and Pickens.
Ooh, that's a good one.
But no quarterback, though.
I have not. So I think. Yeah.
You know what, though, man? Honestly, last year, for the team that surprised me, it's got to be Drake London. And with Darnell Mooney, I mean, I know he came from Chicago and he wasn't that great, but, I mean, he had a record year last year. I mean, I wouldn't say that's 5, but that's just an honorable mention.
What about no, bro? Your number 5 seed easily. Number 5 take would definitely be Amar St. Brown and Patrick.
Yeah. No. Hell no. Tim Patrick's only for the value on bets. That's all.
That boy loves betting on. He loves betting on Tim Patrick. I had one bet
first touchdown with Tim Patrick at like 25 to 1, and that was it.
That boy loves him.
I do like Tim Patrick. I do like me some Tim Patrick.
4. I know I've heard a lot of things about how like Tyreek and Waddle with like the injuries and all that stuff with Tua and stuff. I think like a sleeper, and I'm just saying like based off like what I've seen and like again basing off fantasy and betting like Zach would do. I don't like to always forget about Tank Dell and Nico Collins.
Okay. I don't know if I put them in the top 5.
Get the fuck out of here.
I don't know if I put them top 5.
Get the fuck out of here.
An arguable mention.
Tank
I mean,
Dell.
they're both studs.
Yeah, he's a stud. He's been hurt 2 of his 3 years. He's a stud.
I'm just saying, bro. Injuries happen.
He gave him an HM.
Guy broke his leg twice. He's a stud.
Whoa. He can't help his injury. Come on.
Awful take.
You can't. I mean, and then you got a veteran duo in Tampa. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin. Hold on. Jalen McMillan.
Yes.
That dude's a fucking stud.
I'm bought in on him too.
That guy has made me some money, bro. That guy's paid the rent a couple times.
That's why you remember him.
I bought in on him too.
That guy's paid the rent a couple times.
Trust me, I got all his jersey cards and rookie cards right now.
Hold up. We talked about them earlier. Where does Debo and Scary Terry rank?
I was gonna say
Debo's coming off such a bad year, man.
That was my next one, and especially you're right, Zach. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if Debo goes back to old Debo, then yeah, you gotta
versatile.
Valid argument.
He's versatile. You can use him in so many different ways. You can use him as a back, or you can use him as a wide receiver. So if he gets to that form, but right now he looks like he needs to be on the subway line making some sandwiches. He's not looking like what he once was.
Or with Skylar Thompson on aisle 14. Ooh. Boys, I'm switching it back. Number 1 running back in the NFL. Kahari, you first, please. No thinking. Off the top of the dome.
You got to go with Saquon Barkley, the Super Bowl winner.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Fuck you. You stole mine.
Yeah,
you love Gibbs.
That's my favorite. That's my number 1.
Love Gibbs.
Actually, I will say Bijan Robinson's up there with Gibbs. He's different, bro.
Okay.
And he doesn't get hurt.
Let's just disrespect.
He's too big.
Let's just disrespect Derrick Henry.
No, he's 32.
Let's also disrespect Nick Chubb, but I guess you guys.
Nick Chubb.
He's
right there with Tank Dell. He's right there with Tank Dell.
No,
he's had 2 ACL tears in the past 3 years.
Wait. First of all, no. Tank Dell was never a top 5 wide receiver. Never was a top 5 wide receiver. Nick Chubb 2 years ago, before his injury, 2-3 years ago, was arguably considered the number 1 running back in the league. No.
I mean, sure.
Okay.
2 years ago. What does it mean now?
All right, recency bias. What I'm saying to you is Chubb is him. Chubb will show you that he's him.
All right, we'll see. He's still unsigned. Listen,
that...
boys.
Go ahead, Zach.
What a pause.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
He's not.
That's the only answer.
No, the only
I
answer is
would think
Saquon
so.
Barkley. What guy gets on a team and takes them to the next level?
That's
I
fair.
would just say I'd like to point out, okay, when the Saquon Barkley trade happened, I called Zach and I said, "Holy shit, the Eagles, bro! Like now look at them, they're stacked." And then he told me, and put us on the double screen right now because I want to see his face real quick. Put me on a double screen with him.
I did say running backs are
He
not important.
said running backs don't mean shit anymore, and I said it is Saquon Barkley, dude. Come on, and he didn't buy into it, but you buy into it now?
I did have a take. I did say that running backs aren't important, and the one that told me that was my dad. To tell you the truth.
Yeah. Don't take.
But
betting advice
I
from
will
John
say
Gordon.
this. I will say this. Last year completely changed my opinion on don't paying running backs because you had two arguably the best seasons of all time from two of the highest paid running backs, and it did change my opinion on that. But I still think that most running backs you don't pay. They got a 4-year window, and that's about it.
I would have to say that running backs did make a big difference last year. You look at like Joe Mixon going to Houston; he had a great year. You look at Derrick Henry, you look at Jahmyr Gibbs with David Montgomery. You look at I know CMC got hurt, but even look at Devon Achane, bro. Was he a rookie last year? Or was his year before?
Second year.
Second year.
Even Stein, both years been pretty good, right? Then look at Bucky Irving had a great year halfway through the season. I mean, I don't know. I think running backs are starting to make it. You know, I think that they're going to start really defining the team's outcome in the game, especially, you know, just looking at how it's been now. Because when Derrick Henry signed to the Ravens, everybody was like, "How the hell did the NFL let that happen?"
Is
That's
it
the fastest guy and the biggest dude?
Is it too late, Zach, for you to let them know your winnings for the week or your picks, or do we want to share that on a different segment?
We're going to share that on a different segment, but if you guys are following the socials, TikTok and Instagram, at Zach Smackz, I'm going to be posting all the winning slips. It was a $4,000 day yesterday, so I want to thank Kahari. I want to thank Ross for being on this podcast today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for our first episode. There's going to be many more coming, and I want to thank Happy Homes Preventative Maintenance Services for sponsoring today's episode. #1 power washing company in South Florida. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. ZG out. Brrr.